Zion family. Welcome to Tell Your Story Tuesday. I'm Alicia Simmons, and I'm joined today with my sister, Wanda Mundy. Hey, Wanda.
Hey, girl.
I'm so excited today. We're going to have some fun and just chat.
Yes.
Cool?
Like we do.
Like we do. Okay. How long did you visit Zion before you joined? That's our running joke around the church, right?
Yeah. And so it didn't, I don't fall in with everyone else.
The Mercantile Lane.
Oh, no. My husband, well, let me just say, I came to Zion with my husband. We were dating at the time, and he was going to coming to the church since Mercantile Lane.
Yeah.
So I quickly knew I was already a member at a different church, but I was coming here. We were, spending time, and when we decided we wanted to fellowship with the same church, we didn't want to do the splitting. I decided immediately to join.
Okay, and you are serving at Zion.
Oh, yes.
Okay, tell us.
Oh, yeah, I'm part of the admin team, the mighty admin team.
Yes.
And I also participate, I serve with, I help out with Sheila. She, does outreach or the missions or not missions. I shouldn't say missions. I'm not sure exactly what her title is. She does everything. Volunteers, yeah. So wherever
events,
she needs.
Outreach,
Events, things like that, I will help out. And then I'm now recently, since COVID, I started participating or serving with the lead on the Landover campus ministry. I don't know if it's a ministry, but the lead team.
Yeah. So you have a powerful testimony and a good story that I think people should hear. Okay. So your journey to Christ is a little bit different. So how'd you start? Where'd your journey to Christ start?
Okay, so I share with you, because we talk all the time, that I'm in the military.
Yes.
I have been in for now 27 years.
Yes.
Such a long time now. But initially, I'll just say that I got saved initially when I was deployed. I'll use deployed, that's not a technical term, but when I was in Korea, stationed in Korea, and I kind of was doing what I needed to do, but I don't think I understood.
Yeah.
I don't think I was so young, but I didn't understand. So I came back to the States and wasn't really active, wasn't really eating, as you talk about eating the word or reading and receiving the word.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything. So, a couple years later, I, still in the military, tried again to participate. Still wasn't, it wasn't clicking. And so when the big thing that I say, the transformation for me, is when my last deployment, and I've been deployed a couple times, but it was to Afghanistan in 2010 to 2011. It was the hardest, I'm gonna get emotional a little bit, because it was the hardest time in my life.
Yes.
I was deployed, and it was kind of like an individual thing, where before I had been deployed with a unit, like a whole organization, like how if Zion, Landover went somewhere and they all went together, or like if you would have went by yourself and you were just kind of mixed in with folks. So I felt very lonely.
Yeah.
And things happen for a reason, and God is always with me. So I didn't know that at the time, but something happened. I don't even know really who talked about it. They ended up, I think it was one of the civilians, they made a church.
Oh, wow.
And so it isn't like, when you're down in when you're in Afghanistan, it isn't like you have a big structured building or anything, kind of makeshift stuff.
You make it.
Yeah, you make it on. And it's something about that whole environment. And I went to a church prior, which ended up being my church that I returned to once I redeployed back to the United States. But when I was in Afghanistan, and this Bob Sharana is the location, they were playing songs that I had heard of before, but I didn't know the words.
Yeah.
And I was telling you before that being comfortable is super important. Like if I'm uncomfortable, I kind of shut down a little bit. And so at that point, being in that area, I was able, because it was only like 2 or 3 people, then it would grow. Sometimes it was small, sometimes it would grow, because we had to work around the clock. So whoever could get there, they're supposed to let you, have time, but sometimes missions come before.
Right.
And so I was able to develop, learn, eat the word, receive the word, learn the songs. And so when I had those moments, which they were many, I remember talking to God every day, trying to count down, like I got 5 more months.
Yeah.
I have 4 more months.
Yeah.
78 days. You don't even talk about months. You talk about it in days. To just, I'm like, help me, Lord.
Yes.
There's some things that happened when I was there. Some real challenges that it's a little bit off topic, but it really was hard.
Yeah.
So God got me through it.
So you grow up in this not churchy environment.
Yep.
You become an adult and join the United States Armed Services. You go to Korea and have this moment where you accept Christ, but there's nothing there to really disciple you or cultivate that. So you're back to the United States and join a church, some development, and you get deployed to Afghanistan and serving in this war in a makeshift church.
Yep.
Is where you really have this profound moment with God that changes everything for you.
Yeah, it was like people were dying. So you're faced with death. At my previous deployments, I wasn't faced with death and mortar attacks, things like things that would just shake your spirit.
Yeah.
You need something.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started reading, and then I was able to talk to the minister who was also just working there as a civilian. He would say, oh, this is what this means. He helped me understand, or how, this is the book there's a translation, a Bible that has a translation portion. You can get that. And just listening, just being there. I went to Bible study. It was just amazing. And then we didn't talk about this. I know I talked to you a little bit earlier about, so I had my little plaque.
Get to that.
So this is, oh my gosh, it's 2021. I mean, this is 10 years ago. And so while we were at the church, the makeshift church, we had an idea. We wanted to do like a gospel celebration.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know anything about this. Like, I'm completely, I don't know any of this. I don't know the song. Like before, I told you I only know a handful of songs. I know a couple scriptures. I know, I'm still I'm in the very beginning. But I said, my core, I'm a volunteer.
Yes.
I'm always about helping.
Service. Yes.
Service, yes, right? And then it also, because I feel like when I serve, I'm working, so I don't have, because I'm not very social, like I'm not going to just have a conversation. If we're working and we're conversing, then I'm comfortable.
That's different.
So that's why I said, okay, I'll volunteer. So I was a main event organizer, because again, organization structure, that's my calling, right? Admin, right?
Yes.
So it's called First Annual Gospel Celebration. They gave me a plaque for all the folks. It's just so amazing. It's just beautiful.
This is amazing.
Yes.
So Wanda
nice.
is a decorated soldier. This is one of your awards that you got while you were in Afghanistan.
Yep. Captain Wanda, right? This is my maiden name.
She was Captain Wanda, right? She is now Major Wanda Mundy now.
Yes, getting ready to be Lieutenant Colonel.
Come on, girl.
God.
Yes.
That's God.
Yes, God is about promotion. I know that's right. So, and let me turn it so folks can keep looking. We cannot end this conversation though without talking about the first part of your journey and how so you have this experience that really captures you but before that, when you accepted Christ in Korea, there's still this period that you go through where you're like, I'm in, but maybe I'm not saved. I think I did, but not. And this going back and forth. Tell us a little bit about that, and how would you encourage somebody who's going through that back and forth, with Jesus? I'm not. I'm saved. No, I'm not. And that.
Right. Well, I think at that time I was kind of just following, like whoever I was hanging with or socializing with, they were like, oh, they're going to church, and then I almost felt responsible, like it was a requirement for me to be saved or do things, but didn't really know what to do. What was the next steps, and wasn't sure. Just do I go ask, someone? So I encourage folks, because I feel like I'm still a baby at, being a Christian. I feel like I still have so much to learn. I feel like activities, like I was telling you how impactful the gospel celebration was in Afghanistan, and then there was the ones that I've done in Alpha Street, and then now, I'll jump to any of the events that we have here in Zion, which is the best church, but
we think so.
But seriously, I think if folks are uncomfortable or not even sure about, what's the next step, interact with folks that are being active. Even if it's either a small group, it could be something small, it could be, there's so much stuff. I mean, you could volunteer for food. It's food service. I mean, you can do anything in Zion. There's so many opportunities. I mean, we were doing the vaccine, the testing. Like you're not even like forced to know scripture or anything.
Right.
But now you're around folks who are doing it, and then you're encouraged, and you can develop or maybe even structure a small group. Because we have fellowship in my house from the ministry. Excuse me. You know, our fearless leader, Karen Young, she, you know, said, oh, we need to have things so we're fellowshipping. I was always petrified of fellowship because guess what? I wasn't sure what I was going to say. Like, I don't know the scripture like that.
Yeah.
You have an experience, and then most people say, well, the word this. And I'm still like, I don't know. But when we did that in my home, I got to learn I got to know the ladies of the ministry, and then I got comfortable, and then we were able to start talking about things. And now I feel like now I can talk about that. I'm comfortable with asking you, what are your thoughts on that scripture? Or what scripture do you go to? Or what was tell your story on how you got to where you are.
Yeah.
So just socializing with folks that are all about the Lord.
Yeah. And
in the scripture.
Yeah. What I take away from your story is the importance of community building.
Absolutely.
And service. Like as new Christians, building community, Christian community, and service is going to be fundamental to starting off your Christian walk.
Absolutely.
That is so amazing. So I like to ask people which scriptures are their favorite and which ones they lean on the most. But you said...
Given that I'm a newbie with the scripture, or baby, I should say, I tend to listen when we talk about opening the Bible, which I'm working on.
Yes.
I do my praise and worship, so my songs are gospel songs are what I do every morning. And the one that sticks to me is Marvin Sapp, Never Would Have Made It, and that is a testimony to Afghanistan. I used to listen to that song, and I still listen to it because it helps me 10, 12 years later. So that's the song for me. One of the songs, because there are many.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
My sister, Wanda, but major promotion, Lieutenant Colonel Wanda Mundy. And I just want to take a pause, just 1 minute. And some of the service members in the country, we try to thank them and they say, oh, it's just our jobs. But we cannot say thank you enough. So that's it for us today. Thank you for hanging out with me.
It's been great.
We'll talk again in a couple days.
Like we do.
So thanks, Zion family, Zion community. We love you. Be kind to someone. And join us next week for Tell Your Story Tuesday. Bye.
Peace out. Be safe.
We're doing the hearts.
Oh, yeah, we're doing hearts.